Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarrett on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey. Let's go.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 199 of License to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I'm your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or anywhere you listen to your podcast and subscribe to License to Live. And while you're there, please evaluate this episode. Give me a 5-star rating and tell me what you liked about the show so I can make sure that I'm giving you the most current information about career challenges and life changes. And you know what I mean when I say dissed. I mean displaced, disgruntled, disenfranchised, dissatisfied, disengaged, all of these things that come your way. And whether you are being hit by a layoff, you're being forced to pivot. We know that jobs are being slashed in our government, and a lot of people are in these positions are just getting started. They're in that probationary period, and suddenly you're just starting a new job. Then you are told you don't have a job. And so whether you're blindsided by this, I want you to know that you're not alone and you're not powerless. This is affecting thousands and thousands of people across the U.S. And today we'll talk about the immediate steps to take after losing a job and how to manage the emotional roller coaster that comes your way. And then, of course, we'll get you some strategies to get back on your feet stronger than ever. So we will get into all of that right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
I am dead serious. It's not just a commercial. Go to Time with Dr. Jarrett today, and you can schedule your free strategy session. This is the easiest way to connect with me one-on-one. There's absolutely no charge. And just your experience with the strategy session is going to continue to change your life for the better. So don't even worry about it. Just sign up. Now, I know that losing a job can feel like a punch to the gut, but your response in the first few days is crucial. I remember, sitting down with the VP of Medical Affairs and the Chief Medical Officer when I found out I no longer had a job. And, you just walk out of there. That's the last thing you thought walking into the job on the day, but you get this email or you get a conversation or you get a random solicitation just saying, hey, you're fired. You're like, what the heck? Where did this happen? And wait a minute, my life is coming to an end. I mean, it's easy to get into all of those feelings and fire starters, that's what started me making this podcast. That's why I wrote License to Live. The original License to Live, a perimeter rebuilding your life after your career shattered, was because my career was shattered. And I was looking for help out there. I was looking for people to help guide me on how to deal with this loss. And I really couldn't find anything. So I said, let me tell my story and tell some things that helped me along the way. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So here are a few things that you need to concentrate in the immediate aftermath. And the first thing is to pause and process. I mean, because you're going to be filled with emotions. You're going to be angry. You're going to be in shock. You're going to maybe even have some fear. And you're going to have all of these feelings. And it's okay to have these feelings, but acknowledge them and take that pause. Know that you are moving forward with some anger or fear, and that will help you guide yourself along. Simply because, yes, this is an emotional thing. You've poured in lots of your life work, your lifetime hours in this workplace, and then suddenly to know, many times through no fault of your own, you just don't have a job. Just take a moment to process this in the overall picture of what's going on in the world. And even ground yourself by looking at where you stand in this world. You'll find that the world is very big, and your job loss, although it seems like a big hurdle when it's staring you right in the face, it actually is just a small challenge in your overall process of your life. So remember that. Take a pause and then process. So something else you should do in the immediate aftermath is assess your finances, because that's where the fear is driven. This is why financial experts said, hey, have an emergency savings, make sure you're saving for retirement, make sure you're keeping your credit score as high as you possibly can. But then this is when you go and assess your finances. And actually, I wrote about this in chapter 4 of License to Live, talking about recalibrating your finances. So you can get into detail in chapter 4 on what you may need to do to recalibrate your finances. But in general, it's going to mean checking your savings, looking to see if you get a severance package, seeing if you're eligible and would apply for unemployment benefits. These are things that can help get you through this short term. So knowing where you stand financially can help you plan your next move, because that will tend to be one of your biggest fears. How will I pay my bills? How will I pay my mortgage? How will I eat? And so take a moment right up from the beginning to look at that and address any gaps that you may foresee. And the third thing that I want you to think about immediately after this happens is securing your health and other benefits. A lot of times when your job goes away, your health insurance goes away. And we know, and all you fire starters especially know, how expensive healthcare is. So you're going to want to explore COBRA, which is incredibly expensive, but then look at the marketplace plans, because when you lose a job, when you lose your benefits, you can actually sign up off cycle. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can sign because you had a life change. Realizing that these insurance costs may be very high, but depending on your particular situation, you may be able to get yourself forward and get an insurance plan that is affordable. But again, depending on your situation, as you're signing up for unemployment benefits, you may even be eligible for your state benefits, which could include things like Medicare or Medicaid to stop your gap. But I gave a full detailed plan in chapter 4 of License to Live. So make sure you check that out as far as looking at your finances and health benefits. The second group of things that I want you to look at, because what you have to do is first things first. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to eat and figure some of that out? But then the next thing you really need to do is manage the mental and emotional impact of this, because as much as I'm going to tell you that this is not personal, losing a job suddenly is not a personal thing. And especially if you're looking at what's going on in Washington with some of the efficiency cuts, some of these things are just done simply based on your tenure. And if you were in that probationary period, you're less than 9 months employee, you were fired, no matter how great of a job you were doing. You were just simply let go. And that is scary to a lot of people. So it may not be simply limited to the government sector. These types of decisions may be made in the private sector as people figure out if this new tactic in the government is going to be successful or not. So you're going to have lots of mental and emotional impact that you're going to have to deal with. And so there's a few things that I want you to do here. And one is just simply reframing the situation. Do not look at this as a failure in life. Some of you guys may be low performers or maybe lost your job because you simply weren't doing the right job for the right company. But even in that instance, look at it as an opportunity for growth. Many people find their true calling after a major career shift. And that's something that is so real. I can't say that enough. I'm going to say it twice, though. Many people find their true calling after a major career shift. And, I spent years and years, decades, managing and running hospitals and clinics and medical staffs and all of these things that I really thought was my calling. Bam, the rug gets swept right from under me, and I'm flat on my back, not knowing which direction to go. Licensed to Live was born. This podcast was born. The book series was born. And now my ability to help people in an entirely different way was born. And yes, I couldn't see it then, and I couldn't see myself making it from one place to the next. But at the end of the day, this situation is an opportunity for growth. Another thing that's going to be helpful is for you to lean on your network. I mean, this is when your family, your friends, your professional connections can be a huge source of support for you. So make sure you're not isolating yourself. Share the news, even though it may be embarrassing. I'm telling you, you're not alone in this thing. People are losing jobs right and left by the thousands. So it's going to be up to you to tell your friends about it, tell your family about it, and say, hey, this is a growth opportunity for me, even though it's tough. But I need your support. It's okay to ask for that support. Don't isolate yourself. So this is something that can be done in social media. This is something that can be done in real life time. Reach out. This is why you have spent so much time building your network of people. Thirdly, I want you to maintain a routine. Just because you don't have to show up at work at 7:30 every day, it's going to be important to set a daily routine to keep that daily structure in your life. This is something I talk about on the Who's Badass Kids Are Those podcast on Facebook every week. I tell people that, when you're looking at getting better behavior out of your kids, structure is one of those things that helps tremendously, and it helps tremendously in your own life as an adult too. So this means you'll be waking up at the same time, set some goals and do some things that stay productive. And I remember my time when I was searching for a job, going through my trials and tribulations, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I did get that routine. And so I started waking up early, just as I did. I made sure I was doing my morning routine of reading and meditation and prayer, followed by some body movement and exercise, and a way to be productive. And there was a period of time I was so down. My only goal was, when all the kids came home and got off the bus, was to go out there and be the best kickball pitcher I could be. So going from hospital physician executive to kickball pitcher was a different thing for me. But I found some comfort. It was kind of leaning on that network and playing with my own children and some of the neighborhood kids that said, hey, why not have some fun and do that? And that kind of led me to the last thing I'll talk about in this segment, which is prioritizing your own self-care. And I said it before, whether you're exercising, reading, you're meditating, whatever is keeping you grounded, the mindset that you keep and your own self-care is going to be important, because you are not going to be able to move on if you're just crumbled and broken and lying in a pile. You have to, like the rising phoenix out of the ashes, you have to bring yourself out and up, and taking care of yourself is a good part of that. And so the next segment we're going to talk about is the job hunt and how you move forward with confidence. And we are going to get to that segment right after we finish thanking our sponsors. Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com. The reason I wrote License to Live, Daily Affirmations to Rebuild Your Life is because throughout my journey to rebuild my career, there were some things that I needed to do, just like we talked about in the last segment, that prioritize my self-care and prioritize my mindset. And, it oftentimes provided me a framework to have more positivity in my life, to think and reframe some of these challenges I was having into something different. And this is one that I particularly like, number 49. I release stress from my body with every exhale breath. And I would spend 2 minutes simply exhaling stress, breathing that stress out of my body. And there's lots and lots more affirmations to help you rebuild your life as well in the book, but these are just small examples of how I did that. So let's talk about the job hunt and how you're going to move forward with confidence. So, after you're going through this loss, and it's a long-term loss, it is a long-term mental and emotional impact, but you're going through this and you're regaining stability because you've prioritized your self-care and you've made a routine. Now's the time to really get back into the job market strategically. So this is when you go back and look at some of those things you may not have looked at in a few years if you've been at the same place for a while, where you're going to update your resume and your LinkedIn profile. This will help you highlight your accomplishments, especially the accomplishments you made in your last job that you didn't update on your resume, but it will frame your job loss as a transition and not really a setback. I mean, this narrative of people losing jobs has been one ever since people have had jobs. So just because you lost your job suddenly doesn't mean that you were fail or you were less than. It really just shows that, hey, you were dealt a challenge and you were able to navigate it just like anything in your life. So you really positioned you from a place of strength. Number 2, tap into your network. We talked about this when we're talking about managing the mental and emotional impacts too. But now is when you talk to your professional network. You're looking at your former colleagues. You're looking at your mentors. You're looking at your other industry connections, because many of these jobs are landed through referrals. It is who you know. rather than these applications, because anybody who has applied for a job recently realize that humans may never touch your resume. They may never touch your cover letter. They may never even know that you exist, because AI has been used in this initial part of the screening process to many people's detriment. Corporations really need to wake up and realize that they think that they are saving time, but they are losing out on great talent. So this is when you really have to connect with someone at a company in which you intend to apply for, because they can help usher you into making sure you get a fair shake and letting a human evaluate you and not just an AI algorithm. Thirdly, this is your chance to explore new opportunities. You may want to even pivot into a different field or a different strategy, or even start your own business or develop new skills. This is what I do with a lot of my clients all the time. So this is a chance in which you can do some more education. This is where you can, maybe even grab some additional schooling or certificates with something, or just start or continue that side hustle that you have always wanted to do, knowing that the job that you held was not your complete satisfaction. Many of you guys are doing jobs because they give you a paycheck. That's a necessary part of life. But if you happen to lose your job and you don't have that paycheck anymore, this is the perfect opportunity to look at your own happiness overall and evaluate, am I really doing the right thing in my life? And it's okay to make a change. I can give you countless examples of people who are my clients and people who weren't my clients who have made a change somewhere on. And a lot of times, these are people we interview on License to Live. The reason we have guests on the show is because they have some impactful experience that is going to get you there. So remember, this could be the time to not just jump right back into what you were doing because you're good at that, or that's something you've always done. It's actually a time to look at these new opportunities. And then finally, I want you to stay persistent, stay positive, because this search can be discouraging and you're going to hear lots of no's. You're going to hear all these form letters that say thanks, but no thanks. And you know what? Again, a human may not have even been a part of this, but know that rejection is a part of the process. You are not going to be admitted on the first try and accepted on the first try. Maybe somebody really, really lucky out there will, because they had the right combination of whatever. But for most of you, you're going to hear rejection after rejection. This is a time to embrace rejection and know deep in your heart that when you get that rejection letter, it should be a relief, because that job was not for you. Although you thought it was your solution, you thought it was your way out. The reason you didn't get that job was not meant to be in your life. And so instead of being struggling with the rejection, be grateful that you're not being forced down a pathway that is not meant for you. So stay proactive and keep pushing forward. And remember, fire starters, if you or anyone else has been recently fired, you're dissatisfied with what you've been doing, now is the time to make that change. If you or anyone has been dissed, please invite them to join us along this journey. The License to Live podcast, we're coming out with new episodes, new guests. There's a lot of things to say. So just go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. That way you get every episode as it comes out. And while you're there, give me honest feedback, because I want to make sure I am giving you the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And in between episodes, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on social media all the time. Find me wherever you hang out on social media at Dr. Jarrett. Spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And I will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.